the ball well on 1st and 10. They must do that to keep the 7 defensive backs off the field of the Dallas Cowboys. And the other thing they feel very strongly about is the fact that they feel they can out-tough the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, Hank, and taking a look at the weather, it is 36 degrees. You can see the winds, and they could be a factor as they usually are here at Rich Stadium, and wet snow is the forecast. We had rain in the morning. We had some light snow. We don't have much precipitation right now as Rafael Septien gets set to kick off. Van Williams and Don Wilson will be receiving, and there is Don Wilson. Number 21, Van Williams has been the leader, and Wilson, a yard in the end zone, brings it out for Buffalo. And he's hit inside the 15-yard line by Vince Albritton, and we're underway. The offense for the Buffalo Bills. Veteran Joe Ferguson, who's had to struggle this year. Greg Bell, rookie. Frank Tony Hunter looks awfully good at tight end. Jones, Vogler, Grant, Borchert, and Devlin, the offensive line. And Tim Vogler is starting at left guard for Jim Richard, who normally is in that spot. 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. Here's Greg Bell. He breaks a couple of tackles. Greg Bell may go all the way. Greg Bell. Touchdown, Buffalo. Yards, Hank Stram, and what a start.
Can you believe that? And of course, you know, talking to Greg Bell yesterday, he lit up like a Christmas tree. When I talked about the running game, he said, boy, I'd like to carry the ball 25 times in the game. I think we can run well against the Dallas Cowboys, and they started off like gangbusters.
Number 1 draft pick from Notre Dame, 5th in the conference in rushing, 646 yards, and the Bills lead at 6-0. And Chuck Nelson, who was signed a couple of weeks ago when Joe Danello was waived. There's Bell, who scored the touchdown. Will try to give the Bills a 7-0 lead. Holding is Matt Copeland. They are buzzing here at Orchard Park. 21 seconds into the ball game. The Bills score on the first play. And the kick is good. It's 7-0 Buffalo.
Here's the shot from the I formation.
And there's a penalty flag down, Hank, first. There's a penalty flag on the kick. The referee is Bob McElwee, and he'll tell us.
Holding number 55, offense.
So a holding penalty called against Buffalo. Tim Vogler, and so they're going to move back 5 yards and try it again.
What an explosion on that first play. Wasn't that something?
Greg Bell will always remember an 85-yard touchdown run against the Dallas Cowboys, no matter what happens the rest of his career.
And he was excited about playing against the Dallas Cowboys yesterday when we talked about it.
He proved it. This is going to be a 30-yard extra point. Hopler holding. And this kick is good. It is 7-0. And once again, Hank, Greg Bell's tremendous run.
They're in the I formation. Watch the block on White. Bell cuts back over the inside. Lockhart, the middle linebacker, overran the play, ran right up the middle. And that's something I think we can see a lot of this afternoon. Whether they're going to be successful with it remains to be seen. But I think they went into the game with the idea of running the ball left a lot this afternoon.
29 seconds. 21 seconds have gone off. Buffalo leads at 7-0. Run in history against the Dallas Cowboys, just been engineered by rookie Greg Bell of Notre Dame, 85 yards. And now Gary Allen is back for the Dallas Cowboys as Chuck Nelson will kick off. Allen has been the leading kickoff returner. Chuck McSwain is also back there for the Cowboys. Short kick, and it's going to be Allen at the 15. Tripped up just about the 30-yard line by Martin Bayless. And a penalty marker is down on the field. Dallas Cowboys coming in with a record of 7-4, tied with the Redskins for first in the NFC East, and the Bills 0-11.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 55 on the return play.
Steve Diassi, the rookie from Boston College, the guilty party, will mark that off on a post-possession penalty. As you look at the Dallas Cowboys offense, Gary Hogeboom getting the start again. Tony Dorsett and Ron Springs in the backfield. Tony Hill and Mike Renfro, the wide receivers. Doug Cosby is the tight end. Herb Scott, usually the tackle, filling in. A guard filling in a tackle for Howard Richards, who's out. Titans are Rafferty, Peterson, and Posderick, the rest of the offensive line. Ball is at the 15-yard line, 1st and 10. In motion is Ron Springs. Screen pass to Tony Hill. Tony Hill tried to carry Brian Carpenter and did for a couple of yards and brings it out to the 21. Brian Carpenter, one of 4 left cornerbacks used this year by the Bills. They have Ben Williams, Fred Smerlas, the veteran, and Ken Johnson up front. Keating, Haslett, Eugene Marvin, Darryl Talley are the linebackers. Carpenter, who made that tackle with Charles Romes at right cornerback, veteran Steve Freeman, and Don Wilson, the safeties.
I think we'll see the Cowboys trying to use a lot of draws and screens, especially early in the game, Dick, because they use a lot of zone defense. I'm talking about the Buffalo Bills.
2nd down and 4. Timmy Newsom is in for Ron Springs. Cosby in motion. And here's Newsom. Stop shy of the 25-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 2. Jim Haslett, one of the inside linebackers, makes the tackle. So it'll be 3rd down and short for the Dallas Cowboys. There's Haslett, who's recovered from a back problem, limited his play to only 11 games the last 2 years, and one of the big veterans on this team.
Yeah, they like him very much, and I think he's considered to be, when he's healthy, one of the very outstanding linebackers in the National Football League.
Hank, he's been up and down in his career, up when the Bills were a playoff team and down with their 0-11. He's lived through both. 3rd down and a long one. Mike Renfro now moves. Hogeboom has time up the middle, caught, 1st down. Renfro to the 30-yard line. Eugene Marv and Jim Haslett making the tackle on Mike Renfro.
Mike Renfro that time came across the formation, ran kind of a delayed pattern, then came right across the middle. A very outstanding possession kind of a player. Catches the ball very, very well. Makes sure he catches it. Gets the most out of the play he possibly can. The only thing that was important was getting the 1st down. And
that was his first reception in the last 3 games. Dorsett, the single back. The ball's at the 30-yard line. Play action for Hogeboom up the middle of Dorsett to the 36-yard line, picking up about 6 yards. Eugene Marv making the tackle on Tony Dorsett, who comes into the game needing 140 yards rushing for another 1,000-yard season. It's been a tough couple of weeks, Hank, for Tony Dorsett with the death of his father, Wes Dorsett, in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, going back and forth and still playing in the games and still doing a pretty good job.
Well, he's that kind of a player. You know, you talk about mental toughness. Somehow, some way, you have to get it done, and he's made that public, and that's exactly what he's trying to do.
2nd down and 4. Play action again. Hogeboom completes the pass to Tony Hill, and a 1st down at the 46-yard line. Jim Haslett making the tackle. Gain of 11.
Watch Haslett, number 55.
11 yards.
Watch Tony Hill, breaks underneath the linebacker, right in front of the linebacker, makes the catch. The ball is thrown perfectly. That kind of a ball, when you throw it inside, must be thrown at the numbers. It was, and they have another 1st down.
He's caught a pass in 40 straight games that he has been. Of course, he was out 5 games, and that's the longest streak on the club. Here is Dorsett going off the left side. Pass midfield into Buffalo territory at the 48-yard line.
Stop by Keating.
Haslett and Fred Smerlas combined to make the tackle on Tony Dorsett. Buffalo defense, as you can see, has been a porous defense.
5-yard gain.
They have put the offense in the hole a lot this year by trailing early. But for a change, the Buffalo Bills jumped up top early.
Yes, and Don Lawrence, their defensive coordinator, indicated they didn't want to do many things differently this time. They just wanted to play fundamentally sound and tough.
2nd down and 5 at the Bills' 48. Newsom. Fumble. The Bills may have it. Buffalo recovers at the 45. Fred Smerlas picked up the loose ball. So the veteran, still one of the very best nose tackles. Fred Smerlas, 4 times a Pro Bowl performer, recovers the Dallas fumble.
Watch Smerlas now, number 76. He's on the nose of the center. He comes over to the side. The ball pops loose, and there he is making the recovery, number 76.
Marvin Haslett made the hit. Smerlas was Johnny on the spot. Buffalo, good field position. They have the ball again. Well, the Buffalo Bills with nothing to lose. A victory over Dallas can make their year, but it's a long way to go. Yet it's 1st and 10 at their own 45.
Let's see if they run left again. That's what their plan is, to run left. They start left.
Booker Moore upended at the line of scrimmage.
Carried.
Anthony Dickerson making the tackle. The Dallas Cowboys defense has been a solid part of the ball team. They have allowed only 3 touchdowns in the last 14 quarters coming into today's game. Jones, Dutton, White, and Jeffcoat up front. The linebackers, Eugene Lockhart in place of Bob Runick, who has the back injury. And the secondary, Walls, Fellows, Klink, Scale, and Downs. And of course, you know they bring in those 7 backs that Hank mentioned. 2nd and 10. Joe Ferguson. His first pass is batted down by Ed Too Tall Jones, who's made a career out of doing that, Hank. Booker Moore, the intended receiver.
Yeah, that was an option pass. They tried to throw the ball downfield to the receiver. Had he been open, why, they'd have thrown the ball to him, but he wasn't open, so they tried to dump the ball off into the flat, and Too Tall Jones slaps it right down.
Tom Landry.
That's one of those boomerang shots.
The 10th time that Ed Jones has batted down a pass at the line this year. 3rd down and 10 at the 45 for Ferguson. Ferguson completes the pass. Mitchell Brookins, a rookie from Illinois in the 4th round, gives the Bills a 1st down and 11-yard pickup from the old veteran Ferguson.
He throws the ball with good anticipation, thrown to the outside, tackled by Victor Scott. It's man-for-man coverage, and he had plenty of time to throw the ball. That was the key. Good protection. The linemen do a good job of picking up the rushers, and he's able to stuff it into the pocket and throw the ball outside for a 1st down.
At the Cowboys' 44, Greg Bell is the lone setback. 7-0, Buffalo leading. Play action. Ferguson is looking for Preston Denard, but throws it out of bounds, and he was covered well by Ron Fellows.
That time he had a great opportunity to take off and run. He decided to throw the ball that time, Dick, but he had all the room in the world because the linebacker, number 51, Dickerson, dropped off and was concerned about coverage, and for that reason he had all the room in the world. But of course I should qualify that by saying I guess he's got a bad ankle, and I probably think he's a little reluctant to run unless he really has to.
Yeah, he lost a lot of mobility. He had a sprained ankle and missed 2 games and just hasn't been the same since he's been back. 2nd down and 10 at the 44-yard line. 9:22 showing on the clock. 1st quarter, the Bills lead 7-0. And here's Bell, his 2nd carry, and the Cowboys are there. Dickerson makes the stop on Greg Bell, who is the most productive rookie in the National Football League offensively.
And defensively, Gene Lockhart is playing the middle linebacker position, number 56, and they say that he instills a lot of toughness to the defense, and they like that very, very much.
He's an exciting player. There are several of those people. They have a lot of firepower on the Cowboys defense this year. In motion goes Julius Dawkins. 3rd down and 9 for Ferguson. It's batted down, nearly intercepted by Dennis Thurman. Dexter Clinkscale got a piece of it. It'll be incomplete. 4th down. And one of the top rookies in the NFL John Kidd, a rookie from Northwestern, will come in to punt.
And that's the one thing that we mentioned at the top of the show. The Buffalo Bills want to make sure that they keep the 7 backs off the field as much as they possibly can. That time, Clinksdale blitzed and got a piece of the ball, but that's the kind of problems they create with the 7 defensive backs.
Gary Allen is back. You saw Kidd, his longest kick, 63 yards against the New England Patriots last week. Trying to get it inside the 20-yard line. Allen calls for a fair catch at the 13. Tom Landry is going through a tough year, but the Dallas Cowboys come in 7-4. Not a bad spot for a tough team. Hank Stram at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. On a cold Sunday, temperatures in the mid-30s. 8:31 to go in the first quarter. Cowboys first and 10 on their own 14. Dorsett looking for room, and it closes up in a hurry. A pickup of 2 yards, and you can see how aroused the Buffalo defense is. Ken Johnson, but Eugene Marv, who had 18 tackles last week against New England, he's just about in every play.
Marvin Rhodes on the stop.
And that was a counter play with the idea of making the linebackers react one way and then go on the other. Dorsett takes a step to his right to give his right guard and right tackle a chance to pull, but that time they stuffed the play and reacted very, very well to what they saw.
The Bills failing to capitalize on the fumble recovery. Now Dallas trying to get back in it. Hogeboom going up the middle again. Cosby loses the ball, incomplete. It's ruled. Cosby, the intended receiver, had it and lost it. Steve Freeman defending. Chris Keating back there as well.
Cosby comes off the ball on the left side. There you see him. He makes the catch, and in the process of trying to get upfield, he really doesn't have a handle on the ball. And as he's hit, the ball is knocked loose and falls incomplete. Keating, number 52, was right there to make a play.
Rodney Bellinger and Rod Cush are extra defensive backs, the dime defense for Buffalo. 3rd down and 8 at the 15-yard line. Gary Hogeboom with springs in motion. Under pressure and sacked inside the 5. That was Ben Williams. And Hank, he's been bothered by a sore shoulder.
They didn't bother him on that last play. Ben Williams gets a good takeoff from the line of scrimmage.
Ben Williams with the sack.
He tries to get out of the reach of Ben Williams, number 77, but he comes right up the middle and makes the sack.
So Danny White, now the only punter left on the club, John Warren, was released this week. Will be kicking to Don Wilson, a rookie free agent who has been spectacular. Wilson is 5th in the AFC, including a 64-yard touchdown, and he'll be at his Dallas 40-yard line. So the Bills should get another good opportunity here, Hank.
The important thing, they do something with the opportunity. They didn't the last time, and they better this time.
Wilson runs the ball at the 40.
Oh, he's got a shot.
And Don Wilson is at the 30-yard line and out of bounds at the 22-yard line. An 18-yard return. Vince Albritton makes the stop, and the Buffalo Bills are knocking on the Dallas Cowboys' door once again.
Here's the replay on the scoreboard.
Watch it. Here it comes. Number 21. He starts to his right. Wilson then goes back to the left. The containment man, the reason that happened, the containment man who was supposed to worry about the outside got caught inside, and for that reason he was able to jump to the outside and make a big play of 18 yards.
19-yard return.
So the Bills have it 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 21 with 7:21 remaining. Greg Bell moves the pile, and Bell carries it to the 16-yard line, a gain of about 7 on the play.
Okay.
Randy White makes the tackle for the Dallas Cowboys.
I think the Buffalo Bills really have to be patient. They must stick the ball at the Cowboys, run right at the defense. That's what I think they'll be able to do best, and that's what they've been able to do pretty good so far in this game. Not to be impatient, just run the ball at it.
It is snowing now, not heavily. but enough of a sprinkle. Second down and 5. Here's Bell again, has a first down inside the 10-yard line. And right now, Hank Stram, the Dallas Cowboys must be saying, who is this Greg Bell?
Well, they're also asking who is Ken Jones and Vogler, the left guard and the left tackle. Look at the blocks they get. And also the linebacker was blocked also, Dickerson. That's where they want to do business, and they're doing a good job of setting up shop so far.
So the Bills in command at this point. First and goal at the 7, leading 7-0. Greg Bell, 85-yard touchdown run on the first play of the ball game. 7-0 to score. Bell is within 1 yard of going over 100 already. And here's Bell. And he's thrown for a loss back to the 12. And it was Mike Hegman. What a solid year he has had. Veteran Mike Hegman makes the stop, a loss on the play.
There was a great illustration of why I mentioned they should run left. They'll do a lot better running to their left than they will to the right. And usually, you know, people are very concerned about running at Randy White, and he's a great, great defensive tackle. But I think basically you're a lot better to run at those great people than you are to run away from, because they have such great recovery speed. And there was a good shot of Too Tall Jones and Hegman on the play.
Of course, the Cowboys had not allowed a rushing touchdown until Bell and the opening play, 85 yards. Second and goal at the 11. Booker Moore is in the game. Bell is out. Here's Ferguson rolling out, looking, throwing, incomplete. Byron Franklin was his intended receiver. And covering on the play was Everson Walls. Joe Ferguson, a savvy veteran who's had to play in Buffalo, has had his big moments here, but is coming off the worst passing game of the season against the New England Patriots. 9 for 29 with 2 interceptions and less than 150 yards. That's what he is today, 1 for 5, as the Bills have done it mostly on the ground so far.
And talking to Joe yesterday, he said, boy, it'd really be great if we can run the ball, which we think we can. It really takes a lot of pressure off of our passing game.
Cowboys have their 4-0 defense in there at third and goal at the 11. Up the middle, Ferguson, penalty marker down. Preston Denard makes the reception at the 6-yard line, but flags fly. Fellows made the stop on Preston Denard.
Fellows in the stop.
And holding against the Buffalo Bills, and that has nagged them all year long. Henry.
Yeah, that's really been a tough situation for them. I think they had 29 holding penalties in about 5 games there. They finally reduced it a little bit last week, but that's really been their problem. Every time they got something going, they get some kind of a holding penalty, and it killed the drive.
Holding, number 40, offense. Still third down.
Well, it wasn't the line. It was running back Rob Riddick.
And a lot of times when you think about a sack or holding, you think it's the lineman, but it's Riddick holding the linebacker who was blitzing on the play.
40 Bates going into 40 Riddick. There's Case Stevenson, who's suffering through a winless year after going 8-8 last year. Third down and 21. Third and goal at the 21-yard line. Bills moving backward here. Ferguson has time up the middle. Byron Franklin makes the reception, and the Bills are putting their field goal kicker Chuck Nelson into better position. Koeffler will do the holding. Dennis Thurman makes the stop. So the Bills will try to add to their lead and make it 10-0. Chuck Nelson is 2 for 4 since joining the Bills. He's a former Ram. His longest was 42 yards.
Talked to him yesterday too. He was tickled to death because he said he was waiting for phone calls, and he finally came.
35-yard attempt with 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first quarter. Bobble snap. Koeffler in trouble, but he's a quarterback. Throws it up for grabs, and it is incomplete. Fucking A. Buster Barnett, and Koeffler is upset. The snap was either too low or was bobbled by Koeffler, and it is still 7-0 in favor of the Buffalo Bills. Let's get a closer look at what happened.
Yeah, he skidded on the ground and got between his legs, and he didn't have time enough to recover the ball and still put it down. He did it the only thing he could possibly do in that situation, and that is try to get the ball downfield and maybe make something out of it.
But Buffalo didn't get anything out of it. That's twice now. They still lead, though. The Buffalo Bills have 4 tight ends on their roster. One of them is Mark Bramer, and he is the long snapper on kicks, and he was the one that snapped it low on that field goal attempt. So the Bills have failed on 2 chances now to add to their lead.
Yeah, that's one thing. When you're playing a good team like the Dallas Cowboys, you better take advantage of field position and get points when you can, because you know somewhere along the line they're going to recover and make it tough on you.
Tony Hill in motion. 1st and 10 at the 17 for the Cowboys. Fake screen, and now they go to Dorsett, and he is hit, and hit hard by Darryl Talley. Big play by Darryl Talley, who made a reputation as a blitzer and sometimes plays the 4th down lineman spot on passing situations.
That's the one thing. I think they fooled them a little bit that time, Dick. When you're playing against a team that uses a lot of zone, 2 things you want to do. You want to draw and screen a lot, but if they play man for man, that tightens it up a little bit. They were in man for man that time, and that's why he was able to make the play. Talking about Talley, number 56.
Loss of 6 yards. 2nd down and 16. Back to the 11. Less than 3.5 minutes to go in the 1st quarter. Here's Dorsett. Slices his way to the 16-yard line. Not quite. Back to the original line of scrimmage. Don Wilson, the rookie free agent from North Carolina State, makes the tackle on Dorsett. It'll be 3rd down, and 3 minutes remain in the quarter.
5-yard gain.
Cowboys are averaging 19 points offensively this year, as opposed to 31 last year. So you can see that most of their problems rest with the offense.
The other thing, they haven't been able to rush nearly as well as they have in the past. They've only averaged about 107 yards rushing a game, which is not very good.
Here's Hogeboom in the spread. Pressure on Hogeboom. His pass is almost intercepted by Brian Carpenter. In fact, it was in his hands. Do you think the gloves had any effect on him?
Don't ask me about gloves. I hate to see guys wearing gloves. But I think, I always feel when they drop a ball, that has a bearing on it. You know, when a golfer has to take off his left glove when he putts because of the sensitivity of it, you know there's got to be some truth to that. I often say, if it doesn't make any difference, why didn't the quarterback use gloves, and why didn't he try to throw with gloves?
Because he doesn't have the touch, right?
That's right. And it's the same thing with the defensive backs and receivers, everybody.
So Danny White is in to punt for the 2nd time, and Don Wilson is just about at midfield and could give the Bills good field position. They have had good field position for the most part. And nearly blocked, and he got a piece of it. It was deflected, and the Bills are going to get the ball in Dallas territory. Joe Azelby, a rookie from Harvard, got a piece of that punt that brought Tom Landry off of the sidelines. It only goes 19 yards. Here it is.
Azelby comes right up the middle. Nobody blocked him. Nobody blocked him at all. Azelby came right up there, right through the gap, number 50. It looks like the deep back was responsible for him, should have been, but he wasn't there, and he came right on through to make the play.
18 yards on the kick.
So the Bills will have it 1st and 10 at the Cowboy 35 with 2:27 to go in the 1st quarter. But Hank Stram, I'd have to think, and you've seen a lot of these games, that even though it's 7-0 Buffalo, they can't let too many more of these opportunities go by the board.
No, they can't, and they have to remember what their plan was. I think they deviate, if you're not careful, from what they think they could do, and I think they still have to run at the Dallas Cowboys and be patient and just stick it at them and make sure they keep those 7 defensive backs off the field.
Tom Landry over at the sideline, talking things over. The offense has sputtered throughout this 1st quarter for the Cowboys. In other scores, Seattle leading Cincinnati in the 1st quarter. Atlanta over Cleveland, 7-0. Also the 1st quarter.
This might be a good time for a play-action pass. They haven't thrown that yet in pretty good field position. This would be a good spot for that if they're going to do one.
A fake and an interception. Pass is intercepted by Eugene Lockhart. And he stepped out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Lockhart was out of bounds at the 40 of Buffalo. But a big play for the Cowboys as they get the ball back once again. And Lockhart's 1st NFL interception.
And what a great play. It was a play-action fake. but not a very good fake at all. It didn't hold the middle linebacker. Lockhart takes an angle right for the receiver. Got the ball. He was the only guy that was really open on the play, Dick, and he goes right down the sideline with the ball in the wrong arm. Had he had the ball in his right arm, he could have used a straight arm, but he didn't. But you just tickle to death in that situation that he was able to make the interception, which is a great play by Lockhart.
And the Cowboys avoid trouble again. Time in the game, the Dallas Cowboys are starting a possession outside their own 20-yard line. Their first 3 possessions were the 16, 14, and 17, and they are now at the Buffalo 40.
That play was a great illustration of faking with the hand rather than a ball. I think it's a lot more effective to fake with the ball than it is the hand because it's a lot more effective.
2 receivers to the left. Hogeboom looking right, and his pass is caught by Cosby inside the 30-yard line, and a first down for Dallas. Eugene Marv makes the tackle. A 13-yard pickup for the leading receiver on the Dallas Cowboys this year, Doug Cosby.
You know, one thing is very obvious that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be very patient. They're playing against a team that plays the zone, which means they play the areas of the field rather than the player who's running the pattern. And for that reason, they're going to throw short patterns until they get the right kind of a situation. But they've been very effective throwing against the zone so far.
They have the ball on the 29-yard line of Buffalo with 1:40 remaining first quarter. 7-0, the Bills lead the Cowboys. Here's a screen pass and a flea flicker, and Renfro is going to go for Tony Hill, and he overthrows him. Rod Cush was covering, and there was Dallas's version of some fancy Dan play to try to get back quickly in this game.
A little recess football play, ante over, and he was wide open on the play. He just overthrew it. And you know, Rod Cush came all the way over from the other side of the field, got a good jump on the ball, and at least he was there to make a play had it been catchable.
You notice that Renfro is one of those receivers who is not wearing gloves today. I don't know how many of the Cowboys are. Second down and 10 at the 29.
You know, they got that from the baseball players who wear gloves with the bats, and they don't have to catch the bat.
Second and 10. Hogeboom. Screen up the middle. Dorsett, open room, fights his way inside the 10. Another first down. Rod Cush making the tackle, good for 21 yards. And Hank, you're so right. The Cowboys are awfully patient, and they're picking up some big plays that way, too.
Well, we talked about it earlier. They have to throw screens and draws against this zone defense. Now, this time, they throw a middle screen. Look at that middle wide open. Dorsett does a good job of acting. Look at that. He gets the rush finally, makes the catch. Gets a good block by the offensive center, that time Rafferty, and he goes right up the middle. Now, they're in a double zone defense, which means the middle is really wide open, and they call the perfect play against that defense.
45 seconds remaining in the first quarter. 7-0 Buffalo, but Dallas is threatening. First and goal at the 9. Here's Dorsett. Gets by one tackler and fights his way to the 5-yard line. Steve Freeman, the strong safety, makes the tackle.
Good take, Gary. Run up by Freeman.
Clock is running. We may or may not get off another play before the gun.
5-yard gain.
There's a great illustration of stretching a loss into a 5-yard gain. He should have been tackled near the line of scrimmage or even for a loss, but good running. He got through the traffic and picked up 5 yards on the play.
The Cowboys are going to be content in letting the clock run out, talk things over, and really have enough time to discuss their next play as they try to even this game. That is the end of the first quarter here at Rich Stadium. 79,000 plus. The Bills lead 7-0, but considering what's happened here, they could have had some more.
You've always wanted in a beer, and less. Honda, makers of the new Accord SEI 4-door sedan. And by AT&T, the more you hear, the better we sound.
Along with Hank Stram, this is Dick Stockton here at Orchard Park, New York. The Buffalo Bills lead 7-0. We start the second quarter.
Landry likes play-action passes sometimes in this situation. We might look for that here. Let's see what they do.
Second and goal at the 4. Ron Springs gets a yard, and that's all.
Smirlis came off the block of the center, Rafferty, that time in good shape, and got over there and helped make the tackle. Watch Smirlis, number 76 on the center. He gets pushed a little bit into the play, but winds up down below the pile and helping make the play on the run on Springs.
Brett Cornwell, a rookie from USC, is a second tight end, number 85 for the Cowboys. 3rd and goal at the 3. Cosby in motion to the right. Looking is Hogeboom. He fires. It was deflected. Darryl Talley got a piece of that ball.
Deflected by Kelly.
Several targets in the end zone for the Dallas Cowboys. And Rafael Septien will come in to try to give the Cowboys their first points of the game. Tony Hill was the intended receiver.
Yeah, Talley really made a sensational play. It looked like Hill was going to make the catch. Looked like he was wide open, and I think that's what Hogeboom thought too, because he didn't really drill it. He tried to get it into him. By the time he got it there, Darryl Talley, number 56, responded very, very well and knocked the ball down.
This will be a 21-yard attempt. Hogeboom will hold. Septien missed 3 field goals last week against St. Louis. First time since 1979. Also had 1 block. Another low snap, but they recover, and the kick is good. So Rafael Septien, who has now scored in 114 straight games. That's the longest among active kickers, and the Buffalo Bills lead is cut to 7-3 on Septien's 21-yard field goal.
Well, Buffalo dodged a bullet that time by not permitting them, the Dallas Cowboys, to get 7. But again, the key thing in the game so far has been the fact that the Buffalo Bills had the ball on the minus.
Next Friday, Hank, the Boston College Eagles go against the Miami Hurricanes, live 2:30 Eastern. And of course, Doug Flutie is one of the great attractions in college football, and so is Bernie Kosar, the fine quarterback of Miami. And next Saturday, it'll be the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. What a whopping of Penn State yesterday against USC, 3:30 Eastern. Notre Dame making quite a comeback, Hank.
Oh, they really made it. They did a sensational job yesterday, and it looks like Coach Faust has got the team rolling in good shape near the end of the season.
Wilson is back to receive. Septien will kick off. Van Williams is also back there for the Buffalo Bills. He has been their chief kick returner, Van Williams. A duel between Flutie and Kosar will be something to watch on Friday.
Well, he's fun to watch, isn't he?
He's not big, but I know you like him.
Oh, he's exciting. You talk about a guy that makes things happen. He does.
Van Williams. Inside the 5. Hemmed in. And brings it out to the 17-yard line. That was a good recovery by Van Williams as the kick bounced around. Scores of other games in the National Football League. Bring you up to date. Seattle still leading Cincinnati. They're now in the second quarter of their game at Riverfront Stadium. Cleveland over Atlanta. Second quarter in Atlanta. The Rams and Green Bay Packers. That's a big game for both teams. Green Bay trying to make a comeback on the year and doing it. The Rams looking for a wild card. They lead. And the Bears over the Lions, 10-7, second quarter. First and 10 for the Bills on the 17-yard line. About a minute into the second quarter. Greg Bell hit at the line and goes nowhere. John Dutton makes the tackle.
Bell carried. Dutton on the stop.
Patriots over the Colts, 16-0. They still have playoff hopes.
And look at Washington, 0, Philadelphia 3. Philadelphia's been playing well the last few weeks.
Well, I think they could give anyone a tough game. In the second quarter, the Giants and the Cardinals no score. That's a very important game. The winner trying to stay in playoff contention. Brent Nerve will have scores and highlights at halftime and feature on Mark Gastineau, the great defensive pass rusher of the Jets. Greg Bell stopped in his tracks by Randy White. Sooner or later, you know, Randy White is going to be involved very much in the flow of this game.
You know that, especially when you take the ball from one side of the field to the other. It takes a long time to get there, and you have to hold your blocks a lot longer. For that reason, it's a lot better if you're going to run that way to run right at them rather than try to go sideways because they respond so well to what they see.
You talked at the outset, Hank, about how important first and 10, both on the run and the pass, was for Buffalo. They got a 3rd and 13 here.
That's exactly what they didn't want to get themselves involved with, and they've been in 2nd and long and 3rd and long several times so far in this game.
Ferguson, as time has passed, drop incomplete. Incomplete. Mike Mosley, who just came off injured reserve this week, couldn't hold on to the pass. He's a former quarterback at Texas A&M, and I see he's wearing the gloves today.
Yeah, he's got him on too, and they like him very much. He's got great speed, ran a 4.340 when he was in college, and it was a Texas State high school sprint champion. He's a flyer. He's been hurt a lot, but they like him very, very much.
John Kidd will punt from inside the 5. Gary Allen looking for a good return. The Cowboys could have good field position as the snow comes down a little harder. Allen on a fine punt by Kidd is backed up and tackled in his own 35-yard line. A fumble, and Dallas still has it. A 50-yard punt. Park, New York. Hank, the Cowboys say they played in colder weather in St. Louis last week, and of course they rather not play in these kind of conditions.
The condition really is very important for the quarterback, and Hogeboom has been used to this kind of weather in Michigan, so he said he doesn't think it'll bother him.
He said he didn't throw much, though, when he was at Central
Yeah, right, that's right.
That was the kicker on that. 1st and 10 for the Cowboys on their 35-yard line. Here's Dorsett trying to turn the corner, and he does. Dorsett to the 48-yard line, or make it the 44. Rod Cush and Brian Carpenter combine to make the tackle, but what acceleration by Dorsett when he turned right in.
It looked like they all had an angle on him, and the next thing you know, he ran right by everybody and made some good yardage on the play.
He has gained 100 yards in a game only once this year. He had 84 against the Cardinals, and that's kind of unusual when you talk about a back who's knocking on the door of 1,000 once again.
Well, I think that's because they really haven't been able to throw the ball nearly as well as they have in the past, and if you don't throw well, you're not going to run very well either.
He picked up 8 yards on that carry. 2nd down and 2. And here is Tony again, and Dorsett is shy of a 1st down. It'll be awfully close, maybe by less than a yard. Fred Smerlis and Steve Freeman combine to make the tackle. If he didn't make it by much, and it'll be about less than a yard.
1 yard gain.
So 3 tight ends in there for Dallas, Fred Cornwell and Brian Salonen. As Dorsett goes out on 3rd and less than a 1, 11:05 remaining in the 2nd quarter, 7-3 Buffalo over Dallas. Springs and Newsom are the running backs. And here's Timmy Newsom. And Newsom, 2nd effort, should give him the 1st down. Chris Keating makes the tackle. Good 2nd effort by Newsom, who, by the way, when he fumbled in the 1st quarter, was the first time in his career that he had coughed the ball up.
You know, that was really a great illustration of sustained effort. He started strong and finished strong, and with the push that he got at the end, you have to be a good finisher as a runner, and that was a great illustration, Dick, of being a good finisher. He was able to get the yardage because he finished good.
Cowboys on their 47, 1st and 10, trailing 7-3. Dorsett back. Hogeboom going for Renfro, intercepted by Rod Cush. Cush fumbles the ball and makes sure that a blue shirt doesn't get a hand on it before it goes out of bounds. It'll be Buffalo ball at the 43-yard line, and an interception by Rod Cush. 1st of the year.
They were in double coverage that time, Dick, and surprising that Hogeboom threw the ball into that coverage. He's got plenty of time to throw the ball, but he throws it in the middle, and he doesn't see Cush. Cush gets a good jump. Watch him coming from the inside. Makes a leaping interception at the highest point. That's where you want to make the play. Now he thinks it's a basketball player, dribbles the ball, but he finally gets recovery.
2nd turnover by Dallas. Buffalo Bills did not capitalize on the 1st turnover. A fumble by Newsom. See what they do here. Rod Cush with the interception. Eugene Lockhart's interception eventually set up Septien's field goal. Booker Moore and Greg Bell in the backfield. 1st and 10 Bills on their 43-yard line. 10:06 to go in the half. Here's Greg Bell looking for some room. And he carries to the 45-yard line, a gain of 3. Right now, for an NFL Today report, let's check in with our pal, Brent Musburger. Brent?
All right, Dick, this is a marvelous piece of football here. Neil Lomax calls for the fullback right up the middle. Doesn't tell anybody, keeps the ball. The Giants, of course, they pinch in, and Lomax strolls in for the touchdown. 7-0, back to Dick.
Thank you, Brent. And so far, Hank, Dallas is losing. Washington's losing. I know it's early, but the two leaders in the NFC East are trailing.
We mentioned this several times, Dick, but again, the important thing is that Buffalo take advantage of the field position they've had. They've blown a couple of opportunities. They've got to take advantage of this one.
Second down and 7. Quick toss out to Byron Franklin, and he steps out of bounds. Shy of a first down by about 2 yards. He gets to midfield. Byron Franklin, who's the leading receiver on the Bills, coming in with 48 catches, and that's 23 more than the next receiver. But he has had his problems. He has dropped passes in key moments and has scored only 1 touchdown. And he's an example of some of the young players that Case Stevenson told us about.
And that was a great illustration of really not being heads up on the play. He needed 3 more yards for the first down. The defensive back was so far off of him that time that all he had to do was stay in bounds and turn upfield and make the yardage by an easy margin, but he ran out of bounds. He didn't give himself enough room, which is typical of teams when they lose. That's why they lose.
Tony Hunter, the tight end, moving. Third down and 2. Play action for Ferguson. And Ferguson is going to Mark Bramer. Incomplete. Double covered by Everson Walls and Dexter Clinkscale. So it looked like Ferguson wanted to get a lot of real estate on 3rd and shorthand.
Well, that's, you know, that's always a chance to make the big play, but I think when you're struggling like they are, I think you ought to do something with a little higher percentage to move the chains and keep the ball moving and keep the ball away from the Cowboys.
Gary Allen.
And the timing of that pattern that time, Dick, he waited too long to throw the ball. Had he released it just a little bit sooner, he might have been able to get away with it.
Kid will punt. Ferguson, by the way, is 3 for 10 for only 19 yards and an interception. So he's struggling again in the passing department so far. Kidd. Good kick. Penalty flag is down. Allen lets the ball bounce on the 15 and it's down as it takes a Dallas roll by the Bills at the 19. But there's a penalty flag upfield. And it'll be against the Buffalo Bills. Case Stevenson, former quarterback coach of the Bills, 39 years old, one of the youngest, and I'm sure he's aged a lot this year.
Illegal motion, number 95 on the kicking team. Penalty is declined. First down.
Sean McNanny, guilty party. Tom Landry looks at the ready list. The penalty is declined, and when we come back, the Cowboys will have it. Enthusiastic crowd, upwards of 79,000, close to a sellout, cheering their Bills as they lead it 7-3. It'll be 1st and 10 Cowboys on their 20. 9:05 remaining in the first half. Dorsett. Plus one, and Dorsett brings it out close to the 30-yard line and near a first down. Eugene Marv and Steve Freeman make the tackle on Dorsett.
Watch Marv, number 54. Watch him respond to the play. Goes right into the blocker. Uses his hands very, very well. Comes off the block and helps make the play on the outside. Good reaction by Marv, the linebacker.
Bills consider him the best overall defensive player they have. Best thing about him, they say, is that he's mean. Dorsett gained 34 yards on 7 carries, 2nd and 2 now.
Well, the Buffalo Bills are chasing like gangbusters. A reversal sometime would be very appropriate.
Dorsett, first down.
Dorsett carry.
To the 33-yard line and another first down. Darryl Talley makes the tackle. That's tough against a good cutback runner like Tony, right?
Yeah, it is. But again, you know, the way the Buffalo Bills are very aggressive and they're responding very well to the flow of the play. Some kind of a misdirection, some kind of reverse somewhere in this drive when they get maybe a little better field position could be very, very effective, Dick. We can kind of watch for that because they're chasing like gangbusters.
7 minutes and 45 seconds remain in the first half. The Bills scored on the very first play of the ball game. Greg Bell went up the middle, 85 yards for a touchdown, the longest run against the Dallas Cowboys in their history. 1st and 10 at the 33-yard line, and Hogeboom wants to talk things over and calls a timeout. So the Cowboys have used one of their timeouts here with 7:29 to go in the first half. Maybe closer than Tom Landry figured at this point. 3, the Bills lead the Cowboys. 7:29 to go in the first half. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram, The Bills not only have lost 11 games this year, but they have lost 13 straight and 8 in a row at home. So they have not been much of a threat here at Rich Stadium, although they lead now. 1st and 10 at the 33 for Hogeboom and company following the timeout.
Boy, look at all the room in front of the corners. They're playing very soft, about 10 yards deep.
Dorsett almost loses the ball. Ken Johnson covers up, and a penalty flag is down.
Johnson and Keating on his down. There is flag down.
Oh, illegal procedure.
It'll be against Dallas. Glenn Titans, the left guard, might have been the man, number 63.
Illegal motion, number 63. Offense, decline, 2nd down.
Decline the penalty. Interesting how the officials marked it off even before they asked the Bills whether they wanted to accept it or not. They had to bring it back. The weather seems to have cleared somewhat, although it's never been really that terrific. You look at the offensive story, Buffalo has the edge. 2nd and 10, Hogeboom looking to throw, batted down at the line. Might have been Ken Johnson, and it was, and another flag is down at the line of scrimmage. Johnson got a piece of it, and this time the Cowboys are called for holding, so you would think that the Buffalo defense is putting a lot of pressure on that offensive line.
Yeah, they really are. They get good penetration, and what they're doing, they're getting off the ball very well, which is so vitally important when you rush the passer.
Holding, number 63, offense, penalty is declined, 3rd down.
And it seems to be zeroed in on that one position, left guard. There he is. Keep in mind the Cowboys have had all sorts of problems. They haven't had one unit together much this year.
I don't know how they can call holding, really, Dick. You know, the way they use their hands, and the first move is out with the hands, with the open hand. I think you can call holding on every single play of the game, and as a result, you never know when they're going to call it.
The Bills think they have this year.
Yeah.
3rd down and 10. Sean McNanny, number 95, comes in as a designated pass rusher. Here's Dorsett trying to break one, and Dorsett is tackled at the 40-yard line, shy of a 1st down by 4 yards, and they'll have to kick. But right now, let's check in with Brent Musburger in New York. Brent?
Dick, 2 quick developments. The Redskins have just scored a touchdown on the Eagles, and the Packers have gone ahead of the Rams. The score here is 7-3, Eddie Lee Ivory on the buck. Let's go back to Dick.
All right, Brent, thank you very much. So the Redskins coming back against the Eagles. Green Bay trying to keep their late season splurge going as Danny White is in to punt. Don Wilson is back for the Buffalo Bills. 6 minutes and 40 seconds remain in the 1st half. Buffalo's defense has been pretty good so far.
It really has been.
Good punt by Danny White. Sends Wilson back to the 24. Nowhere to go for Don Wilson. And he is stopped at the 29-yard line by Jeff Rora. Case Stevenson's Bills lead, and they'll have the ball when we come back to Orchard Park.